Hello everybody, I'm the Mr. C and this is my One Wheel Crisis. Before we get started, let me point out that on the first ride of my trip to New York, within the first 15 minutes of riding, my 360 lens got destroyed, or more accurately, got a large crack across one lens. This is going to leave an unfortunate smudge across a lot of the video and some strange light refractions. I'm going to go ahead and make this video anyway, as I'm not going to be making that trip again anytime soon. Please try to enjoy anyway. And remember, the best way to get more of these videos made are by helping myself and my channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing the bejeebus out of my videos. So, for my birthday, I took a quick trip down to New York for 2 days. Brooklyn and Manhattan to be specific. And no matter what I tell you now or in consequent retellings of this tale, it was for the ramen. Now, I'm a big Nihonophile, and that means I like anime, I also like manga, but I'm not a weeaboo. I've been to Japan a couple of times and speak the language well enough to get by, although living in Virginia for 10 years has sorely tested that skill. But, veering back to Target, thanks to YouTube, I found out that there's a chain of ramen restaurants, and they specialize in single booth dining. Bear with me. There are these booths. This specifically is a booth. Behind that little curtain is the workforce that is serving you your ramen. As I said earlier, Ichiran specializes in solo dining, but some of the cubes have foldable doors for those of you with abandonment issues. They also use a meal ticketing system, which is also something I enjoy in Japan. It's a little pricey, but ultimately worth it. If you want to hear more about it, let me know in the comments below, and I will gladly drone on at length. Either way, I discovered recently they opened several shops in New York. And I'm planning a trip to Japan for my son and I to see Ghibli Park, which opens in 22, or when things normalize-ish. But this new discovery will tide me over until then. So I was there to get the ramen, ride across the Broolyn Bridge, ride through Central Park, and then ride the East River Greenway. I also wanted to check the Forbidden Planet and Toy Tokyo, but neither of them were one-wheel friendly, so nothing from them. Now, I don't think for a second that anyone watching this video doesn't already know that the Broolyn Bridge is a hybrid cable-stayed suspension bridge in New York City, nor that it spans the East River between Manhattan Island and Brooklyn on Long Island. And you probably already know that it was opened on May 24th, 1883, and was the first fixed crossing of the East River. Also, the longest suspension bridge in the world at the time it was opened, with a main span of 1,595 feet and a deck 127 feet above the water. Wait for it. The Broolyn Bridge is the southernmost of 4 toll-free bridges connecting Manhattan Island and Long Island with Manhattan, Williamsburg, and the Queensboro bridges to the north. Brooklyn is a borough of New York City that is coextensive with Kings County. It is the most populous county in the state and the second most densely populated county in the U.S., and New York City's most populous borough with an estimated 2,648,403 souls as of 2020. New York City is the most populous city in the United States, and as of 2020, an estimated population of 8,253,213 souls distributed over about 302 square miles. New York City is the most densely populated major city in the United States of America. And since you already know all of this, I will move on to the actual bridge facts. The initial concept for the Broolyn Bridge was to provide safe passage across the East River for the Brooklyn residents who worked in Manhattan. And in the 1850s, the Prussian-born engineer John Augustus Roebling dreamed of that bridge. However, methods employed to get the project started weren't quite as dreamy. After Roebling was hired by the New York Bridge Company, infamous political kingpin William Boss Tweed dropped $65,000 in bribes to city aldermen to secure funding for the bridge. The Broolyn Bridge seemed a good name for this hybrid suspension bridge, but the name evolved over time. Brooklyn Daily Eagle first referred to the project as the Broolyn Bridge in 1867, and by 1873 the New York Tribune was following suit. But in its early days it was still referred to as the Great East River Bridge, and also the Great East River Suspension Bridge. When it was dedicated in 1883, it was officially named the New York and Brooklyn Bridge, but Brooklyn wouldn't become part of New York City until 1898. And as far as I can tell, they changed the official name to Broolyn Bridge in 1915 because everyone else was calling it that anyway. The Broolyn Bridge was Roebling's brainchild, but he didn't live to see it completed. While making measurements for the bridge in 1869, a ferry crushed Roebling's foot, and he later developed tetanus as a result of the wounds and passed away in July of 1869. After Roebling's death, his son Washington Augustus Roebling took over the project's chief engineer position, but soon developed a problem of his own. To build the structure's foundation, workers labored in caissons, sealed chambers that kept the riverbed dry and allowed for digging. Breathing and working deep in the caissons required compressed air, which meant workers who came up from the depths were vulnerable to the caissons disease, better known today as the bends. And in 1872, Roebling came down with decompression sickness and was confined to his bed. After Washington Roebling fell ill, a third Roebling stepped in as the de facto chief engineer of the bridge, his wife, Emily Warren Roebling. Although Emily started by running orders between her husband, who was quartered in their Brooklyn Heights apartment with a view of the construction, and the workers, soon she took complete command of the project, overseeing the design, construction, and business management aspects. Emily Warren Roebling is now recognized as a pioneering female engineer and the driving force behind the bridge. Emily Warren Roebling was the first human to make the trip across the bridge, riding in a carriage a week before its official opening. The audience included President Chester A. Arthur. Sitting in Emily's lap the entire while was a rooster, a symbol of good luck at the time. John Augustus Roebling himself is credited with introducing the steel wire innovation into the bridge design. The engineer proudly referred to this steel as the metal of the future. Construction materials were accumulated under the watch of John Augustus Roebling, who failed to notice the poor quality of his cable wire. Constructor J. Lloyd Haig snuck a large amount of inferior wire into the mix, and this wasn't realized until after the wires were incorporated into the bridge, and at that point, there was no way of replacing it. Instead, the construction team doubled its security measures, adding a lot more wire than calculations showed necessary, whilst working to keep the discovery a secret. Haig escaped unprosecuted for his crimes, but was arrested and convicted for forgery in an unrelated case. And as I mentioned earlier, the Broolyn Bridge opened to the public on May 24, 1883, and it all went swimmingly for 5 days. Nobody knows what caused it, but there was a panic among the crowd of pedestrians crossing the bridge. The mob's race to escape the bridge killed 12 people and injured 36 more. The question at that point became, how do you convince America's busiest city that the newest bridge was safe? Well, elephants, of course. Now, the histories I have read say cities called upon the great P.T. Barnum to march 21 elephants across the Broolyn Bridge in May of 1884 to show just how sturdy the span was. Now, I've also read histories about the great P.T. Barnum, and it seems more likely that Mr. Barnum approached the city. So, it seems that you gentlemen have a problem, and I've got a solution. No, hear me out. You're going to love this. And that's how I see it happening. When the Broolyn Bridge was unveiled, it was a disrobling. I'm always surprised when I cross the Broolyn Bridge. It must be the suspension that's giving me anxiety. I was asked for the perfect outfit to wear across the Broolyn Bridge. Well, it's not a jumper. Well, that is it for this time. Thanks for spending the time and taking the ride. See you next time.